Tonight's bedtime story is The Sleepy Treehouse by Alicia Ainsley. Deep in the heart of Sleepy Forest lays a ginormous treehouse. The treehouse is completely made out of wood and is perfectly poised in between the large, strong branches of 3 great willow trees. The treehouse took a long time to build to get just right, but boy, was it worth the hard work. The treehouse is like a mansion floating above the ground in Sleepy Forest. The treehouse is split into 3 different sections. The main part of the treehouse, in the middle, is where the kitchen and living area lie. It has a big front door with an intricately carved door knocker in the shape of a smiling face, inviting passers-by to knock and say hello. Then, to each side of the main treehouse building are 2 dormitories. One side is where the parents sleep, and the other side is where their 4 children share a great big bedroom. The treehouse family love their simple life in Sleepy Forest, and every day is an adventure for them with so many trees to climb, so many new places to explore, and lots of interesting creatures to discover. The 4 kids, Amara, Dougal, Chandler and little Fran, have a great life. Every morning they wake up in their bunk beds and climb down the trees to the forest floor for the day's activities. Their mother teaches them how to read and write, and their father teaches them all sorts of nifty survival skills. They can all build fires and chop trees for wood. They know exactly which berries to pick from the trees and where to find clean water to drink. The family completely live off the land. Every day the kids enjoy swinging through the trees, bathing in waterfalls and growing their own fruit and vegetables to eat. Then, at night, they work together with their parents to cook a delicious dinner, and they all enjoy it around the fire outdoors in Sleepy Forest. Afterwards, they sing songs accompanied by their father's guitar and tell each other stories. Amara, the eldest child, is especially good at coming up with fantastical stories in her head. She always enjoys jumping up onto her feet and reenacting her tales to the rest of her family. She has a wild imagination and a vivacious, confident personality. Sometimes she even gets her siblings to help her in acting out her dramatic stories. She directs them and instructs them on where to stand, what to do, and what to say, to make sure that the story is properly told in all its glory. The children love playing around and putting on performances of Amara's tales, and their parents adore watching their finished plays. The second oldest child, Dougal, has a truly adventurous spirit. He is the one who leads them all around the forest on missions to discover new places and exciting new creatures. Dougal is the one who taught them all how to ride the vines that hang from the trees on the other side of the forest. All 4 children are now experts in swinging through the trees on the vines, just like the monkeys do. Dougal is also an excellent swimmer, and he has found many precious stones or lost items at the bottom of the waterfalls and rivers. Anything that gets lost in the rivers of Sleepy Forest eventually flows downstream and winds up at the bottom of the waterfalls. So Dougal knows that the best place to go hunting for treasure is in the pools that accumulate at the base of the falls. Once a week, all 4 treehouse kids take their baskets to the waterfalls and leave them by the side on the grass to pop their discoveries in. They all swim around the waters, searching for loot and treasure, and recover anything they find and collect it in their baskets. Over the years, they've found precious stones, rubies and diamonds, compasses and soggy maps, dragon scales, and even lost shoes. There is always an array of interesting items to be found at the foot of a waterfall, and Dougal always finds the best things, because he is the one most daring and most willing to swim down into the depths of the water that nobody else dares to do. Chandler is a more gentle soul, but he's equally as playful and adventurous as his brother and sisters. Chandler is excellent at creating and playing music. He learnt quickly how to play the guitar, just like their father, and he worked hard to design and build his own guitar too. Chandler is a natural when it comes to composing music. He can listen to the gentle song of a lark and come up with his own lyrics to add to the sweet tune on the spot. Whenever he stumbles across rocks or leaves that make unusual noises, he turns them into makeshift musical instruments and starts a steady beat or creates a quirky tune. Chandler always has music on his mind. And last, but most certainly not least, is little Fran. Little Fran might be the youngest of the kids, but she is by no means one to forget. Fran is small in size, but big of heart. Little Fran has a way with animals that surprises everyone who meets her. She's gentle and caring, and she seems to make bonds easily with any animal she comes across. She speaks to the birds about their mornings and can often be found laughing with the monkeys in the trees whenever they all go off swinging on the vines. She's a friend to the rabbits and the foxes, and she regularly gets invited for afternoon tea with the bears. Little Fran is a good friend to all. The Treehouse kids live a happy, joyful life in the forest, and they don't have a care in the world. Doesn't that sound nice? On one particular morning, the Treehouse kids woke up and saw that the sky above Sleepy Forest was covered with clouds. They could hardly spot the sun through the thick, dense air, and as a result, the forest felt even sleepier than normal. When the sun was out, everybody felt so much more energetic, and the forest came to life with creatures buzzing around. But on a day like today, everybody seemed to feel extra tired and lacking in energy. Nobody wanted to do much of anything. That is, except for the Treehouse kids. They were determined to make the most of the day, despite the cloudy, grey weather. The four of them ran around the forest, greeting the fellow animals, but everybody seemed subdued. The birds were quiet and curled up in their nests. The rabbits and foxes stayed tucked up in their burrows and dens, and the bears hadn't even emerged from their caves yet. Nobody was in much of a mood to venture out today. "What a positively dull day," Amara exclaimed, folding her arms in disappointment. "Everybody seems to be in such a boring mood." Dougal, Chandler, and little Fran agreed with her. All of the animals were more interested in staying in their beds today than socializing and having fun. "Everybody needs cheering up," little Fran suggested. "The sun might be hidden away, but that doesn't mean that we can't bring some light into the day." The Treehouse kids all perked up with excitement and started coming up with ideas for how they could cheer up the other residents of Sleepy Forest. They thought about preparing care packages and delivering them to everyone, but that would take forever to do. They also had an idea to perform a fun ritual to try to lure the sun out from behind the clouds, but they decided against it. It was important for the sun to have a break every now and then, too. It couldn't be bright, sunny weather every day of the year. Eventually, they came up with a plan to prepare and perform a talent show to the residents of Sleepy Forest. They could sing a song that Chandler wrote, and they could perform a play that Amara came up with. Surely the animals of Sleepy Forest would love it. Plus, it would give the kids something to do with their day and provide some much-needed entertainment. They arranged for the talent show to begin at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and they told the birds to spread the word to everyone, far and wide, that they were invited to watch their show. The Treehouse kids were buzzing with excitement as they set up a wooden stage and prepared their pieces for the show. They ran through Amara's play that they had performed for their parents just the other night and deemed it good to go. Next, they started to learn Chandler's latest song. They all wanted to be involved, so Chandler set to work, giving them different assignments within their 4-man band. Dougal would keep the beat on a makeshift drum. Amara would provide extra percussion on a xylophone constructed out of planks of wood and carrots. Little Fran would be their lead singer. Meanwhile, Chandler would play the melody on his guitar. The Treehouse kids were mid-rehearsal, and their song was just starting to come together when they heard a thumping on the ground. They paused their music. The thumping wasn't coming from the drum. It was coming from beyond the trees ahead. Thump, 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 they heard. Then, almost as soon as it had begun, the thumping stopped. The Treehouse kids looked at each other in confusion before shrugging their shoulders and continuing to practice their music. Almost as soon as they started playing the song again, they noticed the thumping coming back. They heard thump, thump, thumpity-thump. "What is that sound?" Amara asked, gazing out at the trees curiously. "What is making that sound?" Dougal added. Chandler replied that he didn't know what it was, but whatever it was thumping to a perfect beat. The next thing they knew, the culprit of the unusual thumping became clear. A small dragon shimmied its way through the trees, sidestepping and shuffling its feet in a trance. Little Fran cried out with glee, "Of course! It's Disco the dragon!" The other Treehouse kids looked confused. They had never heard of Disco the dragon before. Little Fran explained that she had heard all about Disco from various animals around the forest. Disco was notorious for his impressive dancing feet and natural rhythm. He must have been drawn to them by their music. The children said hello to Disco, and he shimmied his way over to their stage area. The children were delighted and amused by Disco's joyful energy. He certainly wasn't in a lazy mood like everyone else in the forest today. He was bursting with entrancing energy. "I love your dancing, Disco," little Fran complimented him. "You're just as good as everyone says you are." Disco blushed and smiled shyly as he thanked her for her kind words. Disco pointed to the children's makeshift instruments and appeared impressed. One by one, the kids demonstrated how their musical instruments worked, and Disco clapped his tiny dragon claws with delight. Disco asked, "Please, can you play your song again? I was really enjoying it." Chandler beamed with humble pride, and Amara informed Disco that Chandler had written the song himself. Disco was very impressed. Chandler counted their four-man band in with a 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4, and they began to play. Their playing was getting better and better every time they practiced, and now Chandler's song was coming to life perfectly. As little Fran sang with her feisty, melodic voice, Disco started to dance along. He tapped his feet and skidded from side to side. He hopped and he dropped, and he clicked and he clapped. He twirled and whirled around their pop-up stage, and the children giggled with delight as Disco boogied along to their song. When the song was over, all 5 of them began to applaud one another, and Chandler declared that their song was ready for the talent show that afternoon. Little Fran hopped off the stage and ran over to Disco to give him a hug. She held him and then pulled back to gaze at the little talented dragon with wonder. She exclaimed, "Disco, you were so amazing. Would you like to be in our talent show? I'm sure that everyone in the forest would love to see you dance along to our song." The other children eagerly gasped with excitement and concurred that Disco would be a fabulous addition to their talent show. Disco didn't want to butt in on their show that they'd been rehearsing for all day, but the Treehouse kids assured him that they didn't mind at all. He could be their special guest star. Disco thanked them and agreed to dance in their show, on one condition. He wanted them all to dance along with him. The 4 children looked at each other with concern. They had never danced before, they told him. They only knew how to sing and play musical instruments. "Could you teach us how to dance?" Dougal asked the bopping dragon. "Of course. Just follow my lead," agreed Disco. Disco used his foot to tap out a steady beat, and then added in some clicks. The children followed along, copying his master rhythm. Then he started to step his feet to the side and back again, forward and back, forward and back. Then he placed one foot in front of the other and turned over his shoulder, finishing with an eye-catching pose. Amara, Dougal, Chandler and little Fran were amazed by his spontaneous routine. With the guidance of Disco, the kids learned a whole dance routine that incorporated all sorts of dance steps that Disco had learnt from his fellow dancing friends. He taught the kids how to twist and jive like the gorillas, tap dance like the frogs, and foxtrot like the foxes. He finished off their dance lesson with a delightful conga through the trees. The children laughed and giggled the whole time. Dancing with Disco was so much fun. The 5 of them were having such a good time that before they knew it, it was almost 4 o'clock, and time for the talent show to begin. An audience started to gather in front of the stage. Animals and birds of all varieties had come to watch their show. The Treehouse kids and Disco had never performed a show in front of so many creatures before. They started to get a little bit nervous. Douglas clutched his belly and grumbled, "Oh, my tummy feels funny. It feels like there are butterflies in it." Amara assured him that it was just nerves, but that as soon as they started performing their show, the nervous butterflies would flutter away and instead be replaced with a fire in his belly. She was sure that he would love performing for everyone. Disco patted Dougal on the shoulder reassuringly. "You'll be great," Disco whispered in his ear, and Dougal gave Disco a hug gratefully. Little Fran looked out at the audience and saw that their parents had arrived and were sitting in the front row next to Leo the lion and Coco the koala. They had some very special VIP guests watching their show today. Amara, Dougal, Chandler, Little Fran and Disco the dragon all stood in a circle and placed their hands in the middle, one on top of the other. They made a pact to have the best time ever up on the stage and put on a fun-filled show for everyone. They threw their arms up and back with a cheer and walked to their starting positions. The audience applauded and cheered them on as they prepared to begin. They decided to start the show by performing Chandler's song, so that afterwards Disco could sit down in the audience and enjoy the rest of their performance with everyone else. Chandler counted their band in with a 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4, and the music came to life. The children had never played the song so well, and little Fran's voice amazed everyone with its power and pizzazz. While the children played their song, Disco shimmied and shook around the stage, feeling the music within him and pulling out his most electrifying dance moves. The audience was enthralled by their collective performance, and everyone stood up in their seats and started to dance along to the song too. When the song was over, the audience erupted into a huge round of applause, and the 4 Treehouse kids and Disco took a bow. Dougal didn't feel nervous anymore. In fact, he felt raring to go and was eager to perform the next act for the audience that had gathered. Next up, the Fabulous 5 showed everyone the dance routine that they had learnt with Disco. Even some of the members of the audience attempted to join in and dance along. The show was a roaring hit, and all the creatures of the forest seemed much more lively than they had been that morning. The Treehouse kids' idea had worked. The talent show was providing much-needed cheer and goodwill on a cloudy, dull day. Once their dancing section was over, Disco joined the rest of the audience and rested his boogieing bottom down on the floor for a well-deserved rest. Meanwhile, the Treehouse kids had one more thing to show: Amara's play. The audience laughed and cheered as the children reenacted Amara's thrilling story. The play was an exciting adventure with heroes and villains for good measure, and a mystery that was resolved at the end. The audience was enthralled by their captivating performance, and when the final curtain fell, the audience erupted into rapturous applause. The Treehouse kids took their final bow and waved to their friends in the crowd, thanking them all for coming. Their parents blew them a kiss, and Coco the koala gave them a big thumbs up. Leo the lion roared with appreciation. Everybody left the talent show so much happier than they were before, and everyone begged for the children to put on another show soon. Amara, Dougal, Chandler and little Fran took turns to hug Disco goodbye and thank him for his assistance in their show. Disco insisted he was more than happy to help and promised that he would ask some of his dancing friends to perform with them the next time they did a show. Maybe he could ask his friends the flamingos to perform with their violin-playing turtle accomplice. Disco was sure that everyone would love to watch them. The new friends went their separate ways, and the Treehouse kids packed up their makeshift musical instruments to return home for dinner. It had been such a long day of hard work and preparation, and the children were suddenly exhausted as it all caught up with them. They debated what might be for dinner, but Chandler professed that he was too tired to eat. A cup of hot chocolate in bed would suit him fine. The others agreed that would be perfect, and were relieved when their treehouse home was in sight. One by one, they climbed up the ladder to their room. Dougal switched on the lamp, and the bedroom was bathed in warm golden light. It was a big square room, carpeted with a thick, fluffy rug, with little windows set into the oak walls, draped with thick woolen curtains. Their little wooden beds were lined up in a row. Each bed had a thick patchwork quilt and a big squishy pillow, under which their cosy pajamas and a fuzzy pair of socks were neatly folded. Each of the children got ready for bed and snuggled in under their soft quilts. They stretched and wiggled and yawned and got ready for their delicious frothy drinks. They switched off the golden lamp and turned on their nightlight, which cast swirling stars across the ceiling. Their mother and father bought them 4 steaming cups of hot chocolate and congratulated them on a fantastic show. They were very proud of them all, and the 4 children beamed with pride. It had been such a fun day, and they were so glad to have brought lots of happiness and enjoyment to everyone in the forest. The 4 children raised their mugs of hot chocolate into the air as a toast to their hard work. As they sipped their drinks, they discussed ideas for their next show in Sleepy Forest and wondered who else they could get involved next time. Maybe they could convince Coco to play his ukulele and Lana the bear to sing her famous lullaby. Gradually, their sentences became shorter, and their voices grew wispier as their eyes slowly closed, and they drifted off to sweet dreams of chocolate, music, and disco dancing in the heart of Sleepy Forest. Now we're floating into a deep and peaceful sleep. Feel how your muscles are relaxing. Your arms are heavy and your legs are too, as they loosen and release any tension remaining from the day. Feel how you let your body fall into the cozy warmth of your bed. Close your eyes. Let your eyelids be heavy. Breathe deeply. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out as you continue to breathe deeply, and as you keep feeling how your body becomes soft and heavy with sleep. Let your mind drift away. That is the wonderful secret about sleep. While your body rests, lying heavily in your bed, your mind is set free, like a bird taking flight from a branch and flying up and up and up into the air. Feel how your mind loosens now, like a balloon that has been untied from a fence, and floats up and up and up like a bird. Up and up and up it floats towards the sky until it reaches up into the clouds. Imagine that you have risen up high above the world and your head has poked up through the clouds. Then spread out all around you in the silvery moonlight, white fluffy clouds that look like cotton wool or marshmallows. They look so soft and squishy. You can lie back on them and roll around in them. Try it now. Lie back in the soft cradle of the clouds. Feel how they swirl and wrap around your body, holding you gently in the world of sleep. Clouds come in all shapes and sizes. Some are big and fluffy, some are slender wisps. Some look like puffy mushrooms, and others look like paintbrush strokes that have been left on the dark sky. Let your body relax. Let your mind relax too. Let your mind float off into sleep. You are peaceful. You are safe. You are being held in the cozy warmth of sleep. With your eyes closed, let your mind drift up, up, up and away. In the world of dreams, you can go anywhere you like. You can float on blue oceans with ripples and tufts of waves. Or you can visit castles built in the sky with spiraling turrets and drawbridges over sparkling moats. Or you can wander into the peaceful woods where the birds are twittering and the trees are dense with dark green leaves. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out again as you fall more deeply into your cozy sleep. And with your eyes still closed, take a look around with your mind at where your dreams have taken you. When I fall asleep, I dream that I've gone to a world high up in the clouds. Sometimes the clouds are dappled silver from the moonlight. Sometimes they're soft pink and gold, reflecting the light of the twinkling stars. What form do your dreams take? Where does your mind go when you fall asleep? Maybe in your dreams there are flocks of white fluffy sheep huddling together on the green fields. Look at the mother ewe yawn widely before she tucks her little lambs beneath her woolly fleece. Or maybe you dream of a friendly dragon, curled up with his tail wrapped around him, a little trail of clouds puffing out of his nostrils. Look, the cloud dragon is smiling at us and waving. What a friendly dragon he is. Or maybe you dream of cute puppies lying on their backs, their tongues lolling out of their mouths, their eyes closing because they've had such a long day. They look tired, and there's their papa dog, fluffy and white, padding softly over to wish the puppies good night. Up here on the sea of clouds, you can be free. Feel how light you are, weightless, floating, drifting through sleep. Feel everything heavy from the day lift off you and drift away, taken away by currents until they disappear over the bank of clouds. Any worries you have been having, watch them float away. Anything that has been weighing on your mind during the daytime, now you can let them go and watch them drift away. Your worries are not you. You are not your worries. You can let them go. Watch them float away. Now you are light as air. You are as gentle as starlight. You are as soft as the clouds. Up in the sleepy sky, everything is weightless and peaceful. The clouds stretch out like a sea of tranquility. Close your eyes and feel the clouds wrap around you. Feel them bearing your body gently into the land of sleep. Feel your eyes close. Feel them rest heavily as your body relaxes into sleep. Feel your mind lighten. Feel it loosen and drift away, light as a feather, soft as the clouds. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. The world of clouds is waiting for you. Let yourself fall into the clouds' soft, warm hug. They are here to protect you. They are here to cushion you. They are here to hold you as you enjoy your deep and peaceful sleep. Sleep well, little one. Sleep well in the land of clouds. Feel how light you are. Feel how weightless, floating, drifting through sleep. Light as air, gentle as starlight, soft as clouds. Good night, little one. Sleep